How you guys doing today? Here, I'm done here explaining what we're using in this channel here for a bit of a tank build. You can modify it a few ways here, but our basics are we're doing 2-piece Bloodspawn, 5-piece blackrose, and 5-piece werewolf. If you want to modify this, you can put in Tava's favor in place of blackrose, or you can see if you can get some new stuff into the next patch to replace a werewolf here. But I'd call this basically a beat-em tank. We take damage from this and proccing our constitution to give us more stamina and magicka back. And using Bloodspawn and werewolf, we're getting ultimate back as well as some extra physical resistance and spell resistance on top of it. Using sword and board with both sides, full werewolf jewelry, blackrose of course in a full set, and Bloodspawn. If I was going to optimize this, I'd at least have one light piece of Bloodspawn as well, but I don't currently. But here you can see the stats that we have right now. We get a good amount of health recovery, or not health, just health in here, 25k. Stamina, we're about 29k, just short of that 30. If we had this up to gold and maybe a few more other pieces here, we'd be fine for stamina. If we had tri, we could also have a bit higher too. Currently we're going mainly with stamina for most of the things, but we are putting a few health glyphs in here as well to keep them up as well. As you can see, we also have stamina on this, and we're reducing block cost for the werewolf hide. Now on ability side here, primarily we're using Pierce Armor, Heroic Slash, Stone Giant. Heroic Slash and Stone Giant are both great ways to get our ultimate up. And we're also using Absorb Magic, which gives us the reduction to blocking and also absorbing some stuff. And Immovable Brute. Now, if you want to make a modification on this side here, you can easily go ahead with Volta Armor to give you your major resolve and major ward. But I kind of like the ability to get out, you know, break free of CC. So if I mess up and get knocked on the ground, I don't have to spend a whole lot of stamina to get out of that. In addition, if I have a boss that doesn't really cast things, I honestly like to go... just on my vampire line with invigorating drain. Now, if you're not a vampire, it's not really required, but it gives me, it gives me some extra stuff with undeath and a few other things here that really do help. Invigorating drain would just do extra ultimate gain on top of it, which is a channeled ultimate drain, where these are just over time and only limited in time for. Or sorry, this one's limited over time. This one here is only so often with the Earthen Heart line. Now, on the back bar, we use our range taunt here with Inner Fire. I keep my magicka, that way if I'm low on stamina, I can still taunt something with my magic side. I'm using Rearming Trap, Razor Caltrops, Igneous Shield, and Resolving Vigor. If you want to, and you don't have a whole lot of mobs that you want to pull in addition to that, Razor Caltrops is kind of stamina intensive. Stamina high, you can go ahead and use Invigorating Drain on this side instead. Usually what I'd recommend though is popping corrosive armor on this side and then using any of these here for like a long channeled ability. Now we are using Aggressive Warhorn to help the group, and you might be asking, why are we not putting it back on our front bar? Well, Aggressive Warhorn I typically use to help the group, and I swap it when I'm ready to use it. If we have something where there's an emergency, I need to res somebody, there's a major ability that's going to do a crap ton of damage, and even blocking through it may not help save me, I usually like to use Corrosive Armor, because Corrosive Armor gives us a protection for a very long time to be able to take a lot of the enemy's damage. So either a healer can take a moment and res somebody, I can go ahead and res a healer, somebody else can do something, etc. Oh, I should also mention, the other reason I kind of like Immovable Brute over Volta Armor as well is that Immovable Brute also gives us a immunity to immunity knockback effects by 5 seconds. You can get the same with potions, but if you don't want to spend the money on potions as well, that's another thing to consider on top of that. Now, for our champion line, do it how you want to, but I usually put most of mine into Elemental Defender and a bit of Hardy. Also putting a little bit into resistance because I do PvP on the backside here. As you can see here, I'm mostly DPS side bearer, but I still like to have 120 into this to get into Last Stand. I know you min-maxers are probably looking at this being like, what the hell are you doing? But either way, Last Stand is something that's great to have, I feel, because you are going to find places that you're under 20% health, and the ability to cast that corrosive armor is really going to save you at times. Shattering blows as well, because I'd like to have the retaliation. But again, you can put it into any one of these other ones here. I'm just worried about the passives. Now, under the green line here is where you want to pay a bit more attention here. I put 100 points into Shadow Ward. Okay, tumbling a bit into stamina, simply because it's nice to be able to dodge out of the way of some of these mobs, and a bit into Mooncalf for the stamina recovery, because I don't like to hold block up. If you pay attention to the boss, you don't have to hold block up the entire time, and you can watch for how long it takes for him to come in. Swipe in a heavy attack, get a little bit of stamina back with your stamina recovery, and also a little bit of Magician, just to reduce it. Now, this is going to change a little bit in the next patch, of course, because you're going to have a bit more, and you're going to be able to get a few more items into the 30s. But most of these, I wouldn't say are going to change a whole lot, at least from my side of the build here. There'll probably be other great builds out there, but as you can see in my stats here, we also get a good we also seem to get a bit of weapon damage when we're, I should say, we don't have a great bit of weapon damage, but our taunt still does a good amount of damage despite that. And with the caltrops and the dropping down your trap, you're going to be helping out take out a few of the bosses as well with the rest of the group. Your stats here, between spell resistance and physical resistance, about average. You're not going to have too much issue with this. You're going to hit cap if you go with your major resolves and if you have your Bloodspawn proc. That's pretty much our tank set here. If you want to modify it in any way you want, just go ahead and do so. Like I said, it wasn't too much to get most of the stuff here. I think the hardest part I had was trying to get some of the werewolf stuff here. But in the next patch, the werewolf stuff is even easier to get. The blackrose stuff was pretty easy to get because most people are going just for the impenetrable version of it. And the Bloodspawn, of course, are drops, which you should be able to get pretty easy through the dungeons. And if you pay attention to the golden merchant, you can also buy these as well. Okay. Anyways, guys, that's my build for tanking. Hope you enjoyed it. And in the meantime, oh, and I forgot to mention for food-wise, because I always do this, I forget to mention the food. The health and stamina recovery. Important one on this one, too, because this here gives us a boost in our health and a boost in our stamina recovery, which is kind of needed. Notice our stamina recovery is above the 1,000 mark, which is where you want to have it normally if you're doing anything stamina based, I feel. So, again, that's our tank build. Hopefully it helps you guys.